Story 1, From Betrayal to Freedom, My Epic Revenge on a Cheating Spouse, Reddit Cheating. I hate cheaters. When I was 16, my parents got divorced because my mom had a year-long affair with my dad's best friend, Dave. Let me correct that. My parents divorced after I walked in on my mom and Dave having sex in our home. Mom tried to downplay it, saying it wasn't a big deal. I yelled back at her, "If it's not a big deal, why don't we tell Dad about it? It's not a big deal, right? He'll understand." Right before I locked myself in my room, I said to Mom, "Either you're telling Dad, or I'm telling Dad. But tonight he will know." I locked myself in my room and put on my headphones. I was shaking and crying with anger. How could Mom do this to Dad, to us? At the end of the day, Dad knocked on my door. When I opened it, he asked where Mom was. There was no dinner, her clothes were gone, the coward just left. No note, no call, nothing. I had to tell Dad about how I caught them. At first, he was angry at me, thinking I was making a distasteful joke. But when I told him it was true, his anger directed toward Dave and Mom. He got in his car and left. Around midnight he came back a broken man. He told me he went to Dave and confronted him and Mom through the closed door. He doesn't want to go in details, but it was the end of their marriage. The police was called and Dad was sent away. He was just driving aimlessly around, unable to process what happened, till he went home. When they got divorced, the judge asked me who I wanted to live with. I said I never wanted to see the cheater again. The judge thought it was harsh and that I needed to have a relationship with my mother, so he awarded primary custody to my father but mandatory weekends with my mother. It was still 14 months until my 18th birthday. For the next period, I went to Mom's on Friday night, locked myself in my room, and only got out Sunday night when it was time to go back to Dad's. I spent the whole weekend with my headphones on reading books. I took sandwiches with me so I wouldn't starve. 2 months later, my birthday was on a Saturday, so I had to be at my mother's on my birthday. I told Dad that I'm not celebrating anything at my mother's place and we will celebrate another day. That weekend, I did the same, got in on Friday, locked myself in my room. The whole Saturday, Dave and Mom were banging on my door because they invited some people over for a little birthday party. I put on my headphones and ignored everyone until it was time for me to leave on Sunday. That's when my mother had enough. That Sunday, she confronted me as soon as I opened the door to leave. She yelled at me, saying I can't ignore her and she's still my mother. All my anger and resentment came boiling up. I yelled back that she was not my mother. She lost the right to be called my mother when she put me in the position that I had to tell my dad she was cheating on him. A real mother would never do that. So as long as the courts order me to, I will be here, but they will never be able to force me to interact with her. Then Dave walked up to me and told me I can't disrespect him in his home. I laughed and told him he will get the same respect he gave me and my dad by sleeping with my mother in our home. I think he wanted to hit me. But my mother dragged him away, and I went home. Dad was a combination of angry and proud. He was proud of me for standing up for myself and him. But he was angry at me for the way I talked to my mother and Dave. I was a kid just turning 17, he told me I still needed to respect my elders. I told him after what they did, I lost all respect for them and couldn't give them the respect they think they still deserve. We argued a bit about that, but he really was on my side, he just didn't like the way I talked to them. I went to my mother's 2 more weekends, and after that, she told the courts to change the visits from mandatory to voluntary. I could still visit when I wanted. Yesterday I saw my mother for the first time in 10 years, at my father's funeral. She started to walk up to me but I looked at her and shook my head. She understood that I did not want to talk. If she just cheated, I think over time we could have reconnected. But she forced me to be the one to tell Dad, to break his heart. That I can never forgive. I have been with my wife, Angela, for 5 years, and we've been married for 3. I thought my marriage was good, but it seems like it wasn't enough. My dad passed away 6 years ago, he never met Angela. Thanks to my dad's investments, which I inherited, I have a great life. My passive income is almost as high as my active income, but I love my job, so I keep working. Up until 2 years ago, Angela also worked and had a nice, high salary. But that was the time when we experienced both our high and our low. Angela found out she was pregnant, but a few weeks later, she lost the baby. She took some time off work to recover and never went back. I had no issue with her stopping work, The most important thing to me was her recovery. And I knew in time she would go back to work by herself. What I did have a problem with was her refusal to travel. I traveled a lot with my dad and wanted to share the experience of exploring new places with her. But every time, she found another reason why we couldn't. Angela has never left this city. While I was unhappy with her refusal to travel, it wasn't a deal breaker. I have traveled a bit for business, but I wanted to enjoy it with her. I thought our life was wonderful, but clearly, it wasn't enough. I never saw the signs. Thinking back, there were no signs to see, which means she was carefully and deliberately hiding everything from me. I didn't find out because she messed up. I found out because, well, you could say because of my own lucky mistake. A few weeks ago, we had a friend's outing. As usual, it was a coin toss to decide who would be the designated driver. Angela lost, so we took her car. Of course, I never drink too much, I don't like myself when I'm drunk. After our outing, we were driving back home, and things started getting heated. She parked the car behind some bushes, and we had sex. This wasn't unusual, we like to spice it up once in a while. That Monday at work, I realized I had lost my keys. This wasn't the first time, so I have a tracker on my keychain. To my surprise, I saw that my keys were at a cheap hotel. I thought it was strange, so I drove to the hotel. That's when I saw my wife's car in the parking lot. I figured I had accidentally dropped my keys in her car during our escapade. Thinking she might be having lunch with a friend, I called her, hoping to join them. No answer. So I went back to work. Something didn't feel right. Usually, when Angela has lunch with a friend, she marks the time as busy in our shared calendar. This time, there was nothing. When Angela called me back a few hours later, I only told about wanting to have lunch together. She said she was home and had missed my call because she was taking a nap. She even joked that it was my fault because I tired her out the night before. That night, I got my keys out of her car but decided to leave the tracker. The next week, I followed her location on my phone. She was at the same hotel multiple times that week. I took 2 days off, left the house in the morning pretending to go to work, and waited near the hotel. The first day was a bust, she didn't show up, and the tracker showed she never left the house. But the second day, I saw her park her car and walk up to a familiar man standing at the hotel entrance. It was Andrew, a married friend of ours. They kissed, not like friends, but like lovers. The way she kissed me. I waited for over an hour until they came out again. They kissed once more before she walked to her car. That's when I noticed something, her hair was wet. The hotel has no pool, she had taken a shower. That week, I checked her phone. There was nothing. Her laptop and email. Nothing. She was hiding it well. But now I knew. There is no coming back from cheating. The pain I felt was just like it was 16 years ago when I caught my mother cheating on my father. I made an appointment with a divorce lawyer as soon as possible. That's when I heard more bad news. Because we didn't have a prenup and we live in a no-fault state, her infidelity has no influence on the divorce. She will get half of everything, and because she is a stay-at-home wife, I will have to pay alimony. The only things I can certainly keep are my house and my car. The rest has to be shared. So, I came up with a different plan. I found out my wife was cheating on me. But after talking to my lawyer, I found out that I would lose half of everything if I divorced her. That's when I came up with a different plan. I shared my plan to my lawyer, and he laughed. Legally, it could work, and he would be happy to help me. I opened a new bank account at a different bank. I transferred most of my money to that bank, including my half of the money in our joint savings account. I didn't touch her savings from when she was working. I changed all the information for my investments. All the income was now transferred to my new bank account. I quit my job but made sure there was nothing mailed to my home. The house we live in was inherited from my father, so it was in my name alone. So I went to a real estate agent and told him everything. I had him appraise the house when I sent Angela away for a surprise spa day. I sold the house to the real estate company. I had a gentleman's agreement with them that they would inform Angela that they owned the house in a month's time. After doing all that, I told my wife, Angela, I needed to go on a business trip and would be back in a week. I packed a few bags and smuggled some personal stuff and all my important papers in the car while she wasn't looking. At the end of that week, I canceled all my credit cards that she had access to. I opened my laptop and recorded a video message where I told her I knew everything. About her sneaking to the hotel multiple times a week, about the affair with Andrew. I told her that she would never get a divorce. So she would get nothing from me. But she would also never see me again. While playing detective, I snapped a few pictures of Angela and Andrew kissing in front of the hotel. I sent the video and the pictures Angela, Andrew, Andrew's wife, Angela's parents and siblings, and a few of her friends I knew were gossip queens, one of them working in HR at Angela's old workplace. Since I have a lot of savings and high passive income, I don't have to work anymore. So I'm taking a few years of vacation. Here's the thing. Legally, she can't take any action. She can't serve me divorce papers if she can't find me. And she can only divorce me in absentia if I go missing for 6 months. So I keep my social media updated, but I only post about the places I have been a week after I left. I keep contact with friends, including my lawyer, and I keep sending vacation pictures to Angela. That way, she can't declare me missing. There is enough proof that I'm not missing, just on a very long vacation. I have not blocked her on anything, I have just become very good at ignoring her. Andrew's wife is a lawyer, I'm not keeping tabs on him, but I doubt he is very happy right now. Her gossip queen friends will make sure everyone knows what she did. And make it harder for her to return to her old workplace. Because she is legally married and her husband has a registered income, I still pay taxes, she can't file for unemployment. When her savings run out, she will have to start working, and a month after my departure, she will get a letter that the real estate company owns the house. Time to look for a new place. My wife has lost her house, her affair partner, her reputation, access to my money, and the husband who loved her. And I am living my best life. I travel to where I want to go. If I get bored, I do some consultancy work, I am still an expert in my field. One day I'm skiing in the mountains, and a week later, I'm drinking a cocktail on the beach. Maybe I'll return in a few years, giving her the divorce she wants. Or maybe not. Story 2, am I wrong for not giving my cheating wife another chance? Me, M39, and my wife, F33, have been together for 13 years. She recently went away on a girls' trip. I was not worried at all. I have never had a reason to distrust her, she has never done anything to give me a cause for concern, and it's not like she was even going abroad. She was going to a Butlins half an hour away, for God's sake. She went with her sister and a few other girls. She called me up this morning, and I didn't expect anything other than her checking in. She's only been away one night of a 3-night trip. When I answered, she was crying and incoherent. When I finally calmed her down, she told me she had slept with someone else the night before. Supposedly, she met a guy, who she approached, they flirted a little, and danced together, and she thought that was as far as it would go. But he supposedly just charmed her into a kiss, which turned to making out, which turned to her asking him to walk her back to her hotel, which turned into them having sex. She says nothing was amiss, he wasn't pushy, or weird, and they actually had sex multiple times, because she would say they need to stop, and he would stop immediately, and then after a few minutes she'd want him to carry on and he would. And he supposedly never even finished, because of the stop/starting. This supposedly went on for 3 hours, and she eventually said stop for good and asked him to leave, and he did. The guy is supposedly 10 years younger than her, and she said she lied and told him she was going through a divorce. She says she doesn't know what came over her, and she just wanted to see if she still had it, but got carried away. 14 years, married for 10, and we have a 7-year-old daughter. I want to leave her. She's begging me not to, offering marriage counseling, never going out again, never drinking again, etc., etc. I've always been a one-chance sort of guy. I just told her to go fuck herself and have been ignoring her since about 10 a.m. Now her friends and sister are calling me too. They apparently had no idea she'd even gone home with him. They saw them talking but thought nothing of it. I just want them all to leave me alone. I told my mom about it and she said I should think of my family, and that my wife seems genuinely remorseful and didn't try and hide anything, and came clean straight away. That it's not like she had an affair, and that as bad as it is, this is best case scenario. After the conversation I feel like I'm insane. Am I wrong for not even considering forgiving her? Update. So my wife came home tonight, after giving me the day to cool off. I asked to see the guy. Why maybe I'm a sucker for punishment. And of course he looks like a superhero. So that's great. Guy looks like Anthony Joshua or something. For the record, my wife is beautiful. Like perfect teeth, works out regularly, etc. I am not ugly, but I am just a typical English guy. Not overweight, but could probably lose a few pounds, bit of a dad bod, etc. Still have a full head of hair, which is nice. I always felt so lucky to be with her. She was an amazing partner, an amazing mother, funny, intelligent, etc. I asked her to lay out what happened to me in more detail. I wanted to catch any lies/changes in the story/test her consistency. She basically says she was at the bar and the guy was stood next to her, they glanced at each other, and she said, "Where did you come from?" to him. He asked what she meant and she said he was the first handsome man she'd seen. And that's how the conversation got started. As for her telling him she was divorcing, that happened when he glanced down, noticed her ring, and asked her about it. Apparently once she said that he went on to say, "Not like I give a fuck either way." What a gent. I asked if she thinks he could have slipped her anything, and she says it's impossible, because they only did shots together. I asked if she took any drugs, and she admitted to doing coke with her friends, which isn't all that surprising. If you're from the UK and you're into drinking culture, it's pretty standard. A few of you seem to be American, so let me explain what exactly a Butlins is. It's basically a holiday resort, usually for families, but they sometimes host adult-exclusive weekends where it's a pretty big party place. It's cheap, and grimy, and can be a lot of fun. People dress up, there's DJs, live music, multiple venues and late-night entertainment, etc. As for people saying she got caught by her friends, she actually didn't. She disappeared with the guy and went home with him. Texted her friends she was tired and wanted to go to sleep, and as they are on the resort and the hotel is like a 3-minute walk, they all just said to text when she was safe in her room. She was sharing a room with her sister, but she was in their other friend's room drinking and doing coke because they thought she was sleeping. She told the guy to leave at around 6 a.m. because she thought her sister might be coming back soon, as that's when the party usually winds down. I asked her how many times she had sex with the guy and she said 4 or 5, lasting between 5 to 10 minutes each time. Apparently even after cheating she never thought she'd sleep with the guy. She says she just wanted to give him oral, so she did that, but the guy said he could only finish through sex. She didn't believe him, until 20 minutes later he still wasn't done, so she gave up and climbed on top of him. But then after about 5 minutes she thought, "What the fuck am I doing?" and got off him. Then laid there and cuddled him and drank more, and then 10 minutes later they would be touching each other again. This repeated 4 or 5 times. She says that she kept thinking it was wrong, but then would think, it's too late now anyway, so might as well carry on, and basically go through a loop of that. I asked her why she felt the need to see if she still had it, and she says since she hit 30 she's been self-conscious of her aging. That when she spots a new wrinkle or something it drives her to tears. She said that chatting to the guy made her feel young again, and she latched onto that. Also apparently the guy was there with a girl, who my wife said, looked like a younger version of herself, and the guy pointed her out to my wife and said, "That girl over there watching us has a crush on me," and laughed about it. After he had been talking to my wife for like 30 minutes the girl had enough, walked over and kicked the table, spilling the guy's drink and then stormed off. She says that the guy picking her over a younger woman drove her ego crazy, and that was when she decided to kiss him. I asked her why she even told me, and she said that when she woke up, she saw I'd sent a selfie of me and our daughter eating pizza together, and it sent her into a nervous breakdown. That she was wailing and sobbing so loud it woke up her sister, and that's when she confessed. Her sister told her she was insane for what she did, and wasn't very comforting, and then left the room mad at her, which made it worse, and that's when she called me. I have asked her to leave the house for a few days, and she is staying at her mother's house while I decide what I want to do. She begged me not to make her leave, but she did when I said it was the least she could do after blowing up our entire lives over wrinkles making her sad. As for my mother, she still thinks I should forgive her. For context, my dad died about a year ago, and my wife has really been a rock for my mom. I cannot see her as much as I would like, due to my work, but my wife is a self-employed lash/nail tech and has a lot of free time, which she uses to spend with my mom, to keep her company, do her hair, and have girly days to try and make sure she doesn't get lonely. Like I said, she was such a perfect partner. No, I don't think my mom is a cheater or whatever, and she is very angry at my wife. But she loves her. And she just wants everything to be okay. My daughter has no idea what is happening, she was already asleep when my wife came and went again. She will just think Mummy is still on holiday. I still have no idea what I'm going to do. Honestly, I'm still reeling. But that's basically everything. Story 3, planning to ghost him after finding out he's cheating on me. Found out my boyfriend was cheating a few weeks ago. Been spiraling since. Literally only running off of vengeance and pure disgust. I got this weird gut feeling and checked his phone while he was asleep. Those 20 minutes locked in the bathroom felt like years, and the shame keeps me from talking to anyone about it. I moved across the country to be with him, so I'm all alone. No friends or family here. He woke me up the next morning with kisses and breakfast and has been doing so a lot, lately. Probably the guilt. He even bought me flowers for the first time ever. After me hinting at wanting them for years. He thought my quiet crying was out of happiness. He even brought up buying a house for us, something with enough space for potential future children. I'm still going through the motions. Making his breakfast and protein shake every day, packing his lunch, making sure dinner is almost ready when he comes home from the gym. What makes me the angriest is that I really, genuinely thought he wouldn't do something like this. He watched his father cheat on his mother and father children out of their marriage, all while she struggled with infertility her entire life. My partner isn't her biological son, and never had her own. She dedicated her life to the two of them and passed away of ovarian cancer shortly before we met. Sometimes I think about whether she regretted staying with her husband or not. We have a small shrine in her honor and something makes me look at and expect guidance. I love the men she raised and hate the one her husband did. But they're both him, and he's a grown-ass man more than capable of self-control, so I decided to walk away. Next week my car will be picked up and shipped back home, and I got first-class tickets for me and my dog on his dime. He'll come back home from work and everything I brought will be gone, along with me. The only thing I think I might regret is not somehow being able to see his reaction when he walks through the door and realizes what's going, LOL. March 4, 2022. Almost every day my boyfriend sends me money for lunch, gas, something. I thought he was just really kind. Turns out he was cheating and giving me $$ made him feel less guilty, as though he didn't beg me to move across the country with him where I know no one. Once I found out I wanted to immediately confront him but was scared of the outcome since the apartment was only in his name and again, I know no one here. Now I just save every dime of what he sends to be able to pay for the $3,000 moving fees to go back home without hurting my own pocket too much. Breaking my heart, destroying my ability to trust and scaring me off from men I can handle, but messing with my finances. Nah, never. The transport company is coming next Wednesday to take my car, and my plane tickets for me and my dog have been bought. Gonna keep up my happy act and do the usual cooking of dinner and scrubbing his back and poof on Wednesday like I never knew him. It's the only form of revenge I could do that wouldn't haunt me. Good riddance. Edit. A few asked for details. There's 7+ other women, everything he told them was a lie. Name, age, height, city, occupation. All of it. The only common denominator was that he bought us all the exact same lingerie set for his birthday in January. And specifically requested I hang it up in our closet where it's viewable. Forgiveness is not on the table. He'll be surprised, but I doubt he'll be hurt. March 5, 2022. I'll be single again pretty soon and I'm looking forward to it but also not. Like yay. I finally can cook when/how I want to and don't have to split chores and can do everything on my own my way. But that's the only good part. I've been on my own since I was 16 and I've turned out, mostly, fine. I have a paid-off house and car, cute dog, debt-free, and I'm finishing up my master's degree at 25. It could be worse. But I'm lonely. I'm not on speaking terms with my family and had a huge fallout with my lifelong friends a couple years ago. I haven't tried making friends since BC. Part of me hopes one day I can find a way to fix that friendship. Plus I'm moving around so much that making friends is pointless. I'm not good at long-distance anything. I never prided myself on romantic relationships. Sure, they're cool, but a loving group of women was always where I found the most peace and understanding, and that's what I want the most. I guess I'm just going through things right now and I really wish I had people I trust to talk to. Friend breakups hurt the most. March 9, 2022. I found out my boyfriend of almost 4 years was cheating. We've lived together for 2 years and I'm leaving him tomorrow. He just doesn't know yet. And won't until after I'm gone. As mad as I am, as betrayed as I feel, I still love him. All I really want is to wake up tomorrow and this all be a nightmare. I don't enjoy this slice of reality. That the person I love the most has looked me in my eye and lied to me for who knows how long. And every time I do it I'm left wondering how many times he did it. How many times did he whine, dine, and fuck other women and come home to me? How many times have I been the stupid girlfriend who trusted her boyfriend blindly? How many times have I been some woman's laughing stock? Did he fuck us back to back? Did his friends know? Did they look me in my fucking eye and really not say anything? Did he love them? How many times did he tell me he loved me and meant it? When did he stop meaning it? Did he ever even mean it the first time? I'm not a master manipulator. Unlike him. I'm just composed because I've never had any other choice. Emotions got you beat or worse when it came to my parents, and I'm more than aware I have a shitload of trauma to unpack, but I can't. Not in the self-pity, woe is me, it's too hard, but no. I probably just can't. Therapists here are wildly westernized, and once I start with the short list they'll probably just charge me double. Maybe triple. And the last time I tried he kept trying to convince me I enjoyed my own assault. Maybe I got cheated on because I'm emotionally inept. My intimacy levels are quite limited. The few times he asked about my childhood I either A, brushed him off, or B, told him one thing I thought wasn't that bad and he was so shocked I held out on the actually bad parts. And that's where the hate comes in. He knows what it's like to grow up feeling unwanted. He knows what it's like to lose your parents young. He knows what it's like to feel like your entire life has been horrible event after horrible event. But he still did this to me and I don't get how he could. I could never cheat on anyone, let alone someone who shared such personal things with me. I haven't so much as made eye contact with another man since we met. Other people were just other people and we were us. I don't know. I just don't see being able to date again. I had deep-seated trust issues long before this, and growing old by myself with 30 cats genuinely sounds nice. Hell, great even. At least I won't always be wondering when the betrayal will come. March 10, 2022. Transport company came and picked up my car. Sold whatever big furniture I brought for low prices. Took his dog to the park and played with him a bit, got him a dog cupcake and took him back to the apartment. Movers started coming for the rest of my stuff and I hadn't prepared for our property manager, thinking we were both moving out and we hadn't given them the required vacancy notice. She came to talk to me right as my Uber was coming and I told her what was going. Unfortunately they had already called him BC, only his name on the lease. He's called and texted me a few times but I haven't replied. His workday won't be over for a couple of more hours. I left my apartment keys, and anything he's ever bought for me that I hadn't sold already. Didn't feel like taking that stuff with me. While packing I remembered we bought a pet camera that shoots treats on the entertainment center and turned it back on. I promised myself I'll disconnect from it by midnight tomorrow, but I have my own predictions about how he'll react and I just gotta know for sure. Yeah, it's fucked up. Sue me LOL. I actually forgot to leave a note and was running out of time before my Uber came and just left the lingerie set he was so obsessed with on the bed. He'll figure it out eventually. Or not. I'm at the airport now with my dog and just waiting on my flight. I wish I could say that I feel free, but I don't. Just tired. Thank you all for the well wishes, and thank you more to all of the other women who reached out with similar stories. I think I might have caved and stayed if you all hadn't. March 14, 2022. Update. I turned it on for about 10 minutes after I got back to my home and unpacked. He wasn't there, but everything was a mess. There was a hole in the wall, furniture flipped over, papers everywhere, the kitchen looked like a tornado went through it. I deleted all of my other social media accounts but didn't block his number. The first 2 days he called me over 200 times. Lots of novel-esque text messages and him admitting to some shit I didn't even know about yet. Quite a few calls from his dad and friends too. I didn't reply to any of them. Story 4, husband of 20 years cheated. My husband of 20 years cheated multiple times during the marriage. First time, his family were allowed to verbally attack me. They said some of these more horrid stuff to me and I felt so ugly and worthless. I finally had enough and told him I was leaving and going to stay with my mother because he wasn't making them stop. He wasn't standing up for me. While I was gone, he got head from the woman he lost his virginity to. He lied about her too and told me he was a virgin when we met. He kept all of it, quit and begged me back. Nothing changed his family, and when I finally said I'm done, he agreed to move away from them and go LC. Second time, he was on disability for years. I found a program that helped pay for him to go back to work and he got his dream job truck driving. Like father, like son. The night he left for training, he met a woman at the hotel that was also a truck driver. They started an emotional relationship on the spot. He even went to her hotel room that night to bump into a physical one, but she didn't answer the door. They proceeded to have phone **** 4 weeks after. She found a boyfriend not long after they started and told him they had to stop because it wasn't fair to her new BF, because me, I guess. Yes, she knew about me. My husband confessed everything, even that he wasn't a virgin when we met, 2 years ago and, from what I've seen, he has been doing everything right, being open and honest with his phone, treating me like he should have been, for the last 20 years. I didn't even realize he wasn't treating me like a wife, I just didn't even realize it. He buys me flowers, tells me I'm beautiful. He used to lie and tell me makeup looks like crap on me so that I wouldn't wear it and look nice, so no one would look at me, to the point of my post. It's been 2 years since he confessed and has been doing everything right in order to help us rebuild, but, God, I'm so sorry, I don't think I'm still in love with him. I am trying so ***king hard to still love him as a wife, but, I just don't. I feel so terrible. I feel horrible. I feel like the actual bad guy because I don't love him like I used to. I feel like the eventual split is going to be my fault because I can't seem to forgive or forget. Guys, I was a virgin when I met him. I truly thought that would be a special bond that would hold us together. I know, I roll my eyes at the stupid, sappy cringe of it too. I have given this man every single piece of me. I was so in love with him, ready to drop anything and everything for him, and it just wasn't enough. I wasn't enough. But, there's my story. Story 5, I know it's a long text, but I am tired to think about that. Hello everyone, sorry in advance, I am not a native English speaker. I've been married to my beautiful wife for about 4.5 years now. We have 2 boys who just turned 3 and 2. Since we are both working full-time and have small kids, our sexual life dropped to once a week. I have high libido but never put pressure on my wife to do something. I pick up kids from daycare, I cook, I clean, I give kids bath, I change kids diapers, I take them on their appointments, I do a lot. We always had our routine. We go to sleep early around 9 to 9:30. She went out with her girlfriends maybe a couple times a month. She was coming home early, nothing crazy, nothing suspicious. I completely trusted my wife. Earlier this year in April she told me she felt like we were growing apart. She don't feel like having sex anymore. She said we can just live together but no sex anymore because she doesn't want to force herself to do anything. I had no idea what happened cause we were good. No arguments or anything. Literally the same day went back to normal. Had some sexy time, good dinner like nothing ever happened. 2 months later, May 22nd, she randomly started asking me about the small gated community in southern part of our city. It's pretty much an area by the beach, middle-class older people. She sent me a screenshot like she and one of her girlfriends, let's call her girl A, were talking about to catch up over there, and that girl also have female cousin in that area. That girl lives 10 minutes away from there. She went to hang out over there. We have each other locations. So I saw they were at the restaurant and I didn't pay no mind. Days later she randomly sent me her boobs picture. She almost never does that. When I saved picture, it was taken 3 days before that late night in our bathroom. June 2nd, she went to catch up with her other friend she didn't see for months. A couple of hours later she told me the place closed early and she decided to catch up with girl A and that girl's cousin in that gated community again. They were at the beach. Almost 2 weeks later, Friday early morning, she was shaving her private parts. That night she went out and started sending me screenshots how girl A has problems with her husband and my wife had to go to the gated community to wait over there at the cousin house. It was 10 o'clock. Maybe 30 minutes later I texted her and she responded right away saying she's still waiting for a friend. We exchanged a few texts and she was responding right away. I fell asleep and 11:30 I woke up and saw that she was still in that house, so I texted, what's going on? What are you still doing over there? She said it's a long story, that girl showed up and went back home and blah blah blah. She told me she called Uber and go home. Literally 5 minutes after I texted her she was already on the way back home. 3 days later I came home after work. I cooked a meal for my family. She ate, she fell asleep. I checked her phone, and there was a dude. He was muted, conversation with him was deleted besides last 2 messages, one from my wife, you crazy. I am not going to know where my husband just cooked food, and picture of my food and him, that's looks good. He was sharing his location with my wife and he was in the same neighborhood where she used to go to hang out, and literally in one of those houses she was hanging out on Friday. I woke her up and confronted her and she got scared at first, started making up excuses. Then she said how she was walking to the cousin's house and there was a dude neighbor standing next door looking at her and how he got her phone number from that cousin and they've been only talking for one day. Like she swear on lives of our kids she never did anything wrong and she wants me to trust her and our marriage means so much for her and blah blah blah. She blocked him right away and said she will never talk to him again and even get close to that area etc. I saved his number and texted him saying I am this girl's husband and I see what's going on and invited him to meet me. Especially because I can see his location on my wife's phone. He blocked my number. You guys can call me stupid but I believed in all the crap. A couple weeks later I was still trying to absorb everything and I went back on her phone. Dude was still blocked. I went to conversation with her girlfriend they had that night and that just don't make no sense to me. After that girl texted my wife about problems at home, my wife went straight to that house without address or anything, and she finally called that girl when she was already over here. Also she started sharing her location with that girl around that time. How can you just randomly go to someone's house you met only once before, at 10 p.m. Friday night? Without address. I opened the conversation with a girl. She claimed she went out on June 2nd and the last time they spoke was in early May. No phone calls or anything. And the most important thing, there was no Uber rides that day. Pretty much someone came to pick her up from us, drove to that house, then drove her back home. I lived knowing this for the last 6 months. We went on 2 vacations together. She goes out as she used to before. A couple times a month, she is trying to call me every time she is out to show me who is she with. She stopped talking to that girlfriend and kinda things got back to normal, but man, it's just eating me alive. Last week I decided to talk about what happened. She denied everything and said she can show me Uber rides. I said okay, show me, and she got crazy, started screaming okay, let's divorce, let's divorce. I don't want to be with you because you don't trust me. I didn't do anything wrong. That guy is 38 years old and lives with his mom, dad, 3 sisters and nephews in that home. I love my family, I love my kids. We kinda got back how we used to be last 6 months. Yesterday she was telling me how we gonna go for another vacation next year, and we will upgrade our wedding rings, and she cannot wait to start 2025 with her family. Those 3 weeks in June she was still treating me good. She made reservation for a steakhouse for my birthday in July and invited bunch of people. She booked us a vacation and she paid for it. Like I don't know what to do. I don't trust her anymore. I don't want to do nice things for her anymore. She feels that. I love my kids, I want them to be with both parents. Last week she asked me if can close this topic forever and never talk about this again because it makes her distant from me. I said okay, but I think about that every day. I just wear myself out. Story 6, my girlfriend of 3 years doesn't know I know she's cheating but she's about to. I, F21, have been dating my girlfriend, F22, for 3 years. I grew up in a really small town, so finding other women who liked women wasn't easy. We met at my college orientation because she was one of the group leaders showing us around. I saw her more and more as the weeks passed because we ate at similar times and we eventually became friends. She always assumed I was straight because I have a very feminine style. I'm sure others can relate to this misconception, but being friends didn't last very long when we found out we both liked women. The last 3 years have been great, or at least I thought they were. About 2 months ago she started getting really cagey around her phone, which was a red flag to me. Before that we were both open with our phones and frequently went on them for directions, to look things up, or text our friends if our phone died. 2 weeks ago I went through her phone when she was showering. Yes, I know, invasion of privacy. It wasn't hard to find what I was looking for, but what angered me the most is that besides her cheating she was making fun of me with the other girl. Both of them making remarks that looking like a bimbo would only get me so far. Which is funny considering she constantly talks to me about how she loves my over-the-top femininity. I was honestly ready to explode right there, but instead I took screenshots of their flirtatious text messages and sent them to myself. Both of them are part of an internship that, at least from my girlfriend's side, she's been working years to get into, in hopes of getting offered a full contract when her schooling is done. As most internships or even jobs are, relationships are strictly prohibited amongst co-workers and results in termination. So the head of the program will be getting a very exciting email very soon, smiley face. I also know her schedule like the back of my hand, so my friends and me are going to take back all the stuff I bought for her and leave a box of the few things she bought me with a print of the messages taped on top. Maybe not the coldest revenge in the world, but I hope she has fun sleeping in a bed with no sheets or a duvet. Also, have fun scrambling to buy the very expensive textbooks I bought for you right before finals begin. Love. Edit. Some of the comments are having me rethink sending stuff to her boss. It won't ruin her career, but perhaps it's too far. However, I do feel a lack of sympathy because of how the two of them talked about me. If I do decide against it, I'm going to find something equally petty that doesn't involve her career. Most of the texts were spent brutally slut-shaming me and calling me a bimbo because of my appearance. The other girl going as far as asking my ex for special photos of me to see if I looked as plastic as she thinks I do. Whatever that means. I haven't decided yet. All I know is I'm getting ready to go party with my friends. Edit. Also to all of my cuties, and I mean everyone, she's, he's, they's, whatever you go by out there who have also been cheated on, you're super sexy, gorgeous, fabulous, sparkly, hot and cute, and they flop. Small update, added to first post. I just took all of my stuff with my friends and left all of the items she got me in the box with the printouts of the text messages. I'm about to call her mom, who loves me very much, and tell her everything. I'll probably update later on how that went. She probably won't find the box for a few hours since she usually doesn't get home till around 5. Also, for those who are curious, no, I'm not gonna take those textbooks back and just dump them. I'm gonna sell them and donate the money to homeless and animal shelters. I'm also gonna give the sheets and duvet to a homeless person. Real update, November 22, 2022. Hi all. I appreciate all the kind words you all left me. It definitely made this whole thing feel a lot less lonely. I'm finally in a space where I feel like I can update. So as many of you know, I went through with taking all of my stuff back and leaving the things she got me with printouts of all the messages between them. I also ended up dumping a ton of glitter on her, naked, mattress, and basically the whole place. I also called her mother, who I was very close with, and to say she was angry was an understatement. I left her number unblocked because I wanted to see her reaction if she had any at all. As expected, she had a total meltdown. She texted me 84 times begging me to come back to talk, apologizing, and saying she didn't mean it and was just trying to make the other girl feel less insecure. I was the most beautiful woman she's ever met and she didn't want to lose me, saying she loved me, blah blah blah. It was honestly pathetic. She also called me a ton of times but I didn't answer. I haven't listened to the voicemails either. She also thought it was a great idea to wait for me outside of my 8 a.m. class with flowers, and I told her if she did it again I'd contact the university for harassment. I've been staying with my friend and it's honestly been a lot better than I expected. I've been partying a lot over the weekend with my friends. Now, after posting my original post, I received a flood of comments which made me reconsider, and I had a hard time deciding if I wanted to email her internship. To make it short for the people who don't care that much, I did end up emailing the head of the program. Not because she cheated on me, but because the both of them were sending my nude photos between the two of them. I'm still deciding if I want to take legal action on a personal level. But with their line of work, I don't think their behavior is appropriate. Especially because the other woman's hateful nature towards specific types of women she deems worthless. I emailed the head of the program the extent of the issue, and however he decides to handle it is his choice. Side note, I did end up giving her sheets and duvet to a homeless woman I found, and I plan on selling the textbooks I bought her and donating the money to homeless and animal shelters. Story 7. Caught my wife talking to an old male friend in a suspicious way, struggling to trust again. I've been married to my wife for 4 years, and we have 2 young kids. On the surface, our marriage seems solid. Sure, we've had minor problems, but we've always talked things through, and she would often point out how our issues weren't as bad as other couples. I've always loved her independence, and it's one of the things that made me fall for her, but I'm more open about my feelings than she is. We both work in the tech industry, have master's degrees, and are generally introverted, so we enjoy spending most of our time together. Since we got married, I've been the one paying for everything: our mortgage, on a $500,000 house, daycare for 2 kids, food, 60% of her personal expenses, and more. I don't mind because I love taking care of my family. I also help out a lot around the house with cleaning, doing dishes, doing DIYs, etc. It's just how I am. 5 months ago, everything changed. My wife started talking to an old male friend/colleague who lives in Germany. At first, I didn't think much of it, but her behavior quickly became suspicious. She started hiding in the bathroom, guest room, our kids' rooms, or even the car to talk to him. She changed her phone password, which was unusual because we had always known each other's. At the time, our youngest was only 9 months old, and she had just been laid off from her IT job. She was feeling depressed, and I did everything I could to support her. By coaching her, I paid for additional training and certifications, helped with her job search, and encouraged her to keep going. But then she started planning a trip to Germany with a single female friend. I assumed it was a way to cheer herself up, so I didn't question it, at least, not until I discovered what was really going on. About 6 weeks into their conversations, I confronted her. She admitted that this man had been making sexual advances toward her but insisted they were just friends. She apologized, begged for forgiveness, and promised she'd blocked him on all platforms. I made her cancel the trip to Germany, which she wasn't happy about. While I appreciated her cutting contact, I can't shake the pain and hurt from this experience. She claims their entire communication happened on Snapchat, which leaves no record, so I have no way of knowing what really happened or how far it went. I question. Why did she allow him to keep making sexual advances for 6 weeks without shutting it down or telling me? What role did she play in those conversations? What would have happened if I hadn't found out? What would have happened if she'd gone to Germany? I feel devastated, heartbroken, and betrayed. Even though she seems genuine in her regret and wants to move past this, I don't know if I can. Part of me wants to stay and try to make things work, but another part of me feels like staying will only lead to more mental torture. I don't know how to trust her again, and I'm questioning whether she truly cares, respects, or loves me. Reddit, how do I move forward? Is it possible to rebuild trust after something like this? Or am I setting myself up for more pain? Story 8, why can't I, M20, get over the fact the best girl, F20, I was with cheated on me, and why has it made me so full of hatred? So a little background, me and this girl hit it off great for a year. I'd say best year cause she was the only one I'd been with that was mature and cared about, or at least that's what I thought, till 4 days before our 1-year anniversary, she left her Snapchat login on my phone. And while no DMs were left open and she had already deleted them, I had managed to pull every single thing back up out of the blue. That's when I found out during the entire first 2 months we were together, which was August and September 2023, she had slept with 2 guys and sold nudes to 3 other guys. Mind you, I found out in August 2024. Which was funny because I knew I had seen some sketch shit on her phone before. Throughout the relationship I'd catch glimpses of her DMs and always had this feeling that something wasn't right. But when I was to ever bring up that feeling to her, I'd get love-bombed and gaslit into thinking what I was feeling was a disorder. Which would leave me to feel bad about myself for feeling suspicious. It even led to the point that she threatened to cheat and leave if I kept asking her if she ever went behind my back. That's when I finally stopped bringing it up. Then for a few months I never had a single suspicion till I legit found out everything I'd been feeling. When I confronted her, she immediately admitted everything. Get this, she got high with the first guy, had conversations about personal stuff, she wouldn't say what, he leans in to kiss her, next thing you know she's fucking riding him. Dick riding him while I was most likely waiting for a text from her that night. The second fucking guy she fucks offers her money on Tinder to let him fuck her. She admitted the dude humiliated her the way he acted during sex, which boosted my petty ego cause YTF are you doing all this for some fucking chump change when I had no issue helping you out? Unlike her, I had a fucking job, I coulda helped her. Anyways, the 3 other guys she sells nudes to, hold on, better wipe your fucking reading glasses for this shit cause you're not fucking hallucinating, she said it was so she could afford to buy me stuff. I went through so much hell for her sake. I suffered so she could be in better mind and better home throughout this relationship, just to get told I'm abusive or overreacting cause I can't get over what she did by her mom, her therapist of all fucking people. I tried. I legit tried my best. For the rest of my life, the thought of being in a relationship will always sicken me. Thanks to this I have lost trust for everybody. I hate commitment when it comes to partners, I can't stand romance, and I'm just not interested in settling down like I used to be since I was 11. Now I will never think like that ever again. Point being, it's been a while obviously since it happened, but it'll linger in the back of my head at random times and it'll tick me off. I think it's because, in the prime of mine in her relationship, I realized she was respectful and that she actually showed care towards me, always made sure I got what I needed, and I always returned the same energy. But the cheating just makes it all meaningless now. What we had, what we planned. It's gone. Like, the bipolar, the turning cold, getting threatened that she's gonna stalk me and follow me around, the times she's cried over the phone begging me to come back. Am I the blame for that? Should I suppress the anger every time I think about it? Is there even anything to worry about, or should I just drop it? What to do cause I'm still shook. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like and hit that subscribe button to follow cheating love stories for more amazing videos. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next one.